Hello. This is just a random test run. I'm probably going to post this on YouTube. But I could also just post it directly to Spotify. I don't know yet. But I have two of my players here. Please introduce yourselves and your pronouns and what characters you play in Tonarim.
Alrighty, I will go first. Hi, I go by Jade. I'm she, they. Um, I go by Crafting Joy on Twitch account. Um, I play on Tonerum a character named Darian. Is a he, and I can't wait for us to have some fun with this.
Awesome.
I yes, I am Moon. I go by she slash any. Um, and I'm Moonstar1911 on Twitch. And the character that I'm playing is Nathathi.
Yes.
Um, she slash her. I think that's it.
Okay. Um, so Jade and I were talking about this last night. We stayed in call after the game for a little bit, and we were tossing around the idea of maybe continuing our current campaign on in podcast form, if everyone was down for it. So how do you feel about doing that? If it would require a lot of like marketing and stuff because we don't have a company behind us. We don't have Geek and Sundry like Critical Role did. It would just be us trying to be like, hey, come watch our shit or come listen to our shit.
I am so down with that. I'm so down. I love that idea.
It would be very fun, I think.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to ask the others' opinions, but I'm glad to know that you guys would be down for it. I guess, even though it's only three of us here right now, I suppose if we are gonna do that, maybe we should do a quick rundown of the history and what we've done so far. So, I suppose I'll start with that since it is technically the world I created. Um, so the world is called Tonarim. Um, and the creation story starts like most creation stories. There were gods who created shit. Um, and it started with just, making the land and everything. And then, um, one of the god's children got jealous that their sibling was able to make her own realm. So he was like, "Hey, um I want to make my own too. It's not fair that only she was able to do this." His sister. And so they were like, "Okay." And he wanted to call it the Seven Hells. Um so that's going to be fun if we ever get to those. And so there are a few things like the very first race was, let me scroll back in my notes here, was elves and dwarves. And then the goddess of magic, Mialis, created the Fey realm and the fairies, fauns, hags, gnomes, etc. Uh, they didn't seem to get along with the Elementis, our elementals, or dwarves, but the elves tolerated them at least. Um, One of the things in my creation story says her parents helped her create a new realm for the Fae that she simply called the Fae realm. However, it had slight differences with Tonarim. Tonarim had all 4 seasons and a day-night cycle. The Fae realm, on the other hand, was separated into two courts: the Court of Moon and Stars and the Court of Light and Life. The Court of Moon and Stars was in eternal darkness and only had autumn and winter. The Court of Light and Life was in eternal daylight and only had spring and summer. Um, a few of our members of our party are from both. courts, including Moonstar here. Um, her character is from the Court of Light and Life, and then one of the other people, her character is from the Court of Moon and Stars. Um, so far, they've landed on an island, this group, and I suppose I should hand this over to my two players and they can explain all the other shit that's going on.
I wish I remember.
Okay.
um, I remember literally my character's chaotic and doing chaotic stuff and talk about her life a lot.
This is true.
um, and I don't know. I think that's all I remember.
I will
Yeah.
go on and say about the story then. So, our group of explorers, we landed on this island that we didn't know anything about. It was unexplored to us. We set up like a mini camp before like setting out and exploring the surrounding area a bit. And it was a rainforest, and no one of the characters had dealt with such a humid climate before, so they called it slimy. They nicknamed it the slimy forest because how humid it was. And eventually, after a bit of exploring, they decided to get their ship and the rest of their crew to come over and actually start building up a settlement before they started continuing on for a while. Once they did that, they started to explore more, and they passed a river where Moonstar's character Navanthi decided to jump in and play with the water, even though they knew nothing how the water was like. Luckily, the water was safe.
She was also naked.
Yes,
Yes.
and my poor character Darian, the sweet boy he was like, yeah, no, get some clothes on, please. But they continued on for a while until they finally came up to a big old tree, which actually was a spirit tree. We call her. No, I forget exactly what her name
I
is, but we
I think it
nicknamed
was
her the.
I think it was Grandmother Pasthera or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say we nicknamed her like grandmother, like grandmother Willow. But yeah, that sounds right. Grandmother Pasthera is what we called her. Um, we interacted with her a bit. It was very interesting, and we learned about that this was actually the place that was ruled by one of the goddesses, Estea. Don't know if I'm saying that right exactly. So we continued on to find her domain, her mansion of sorts in the woods, and we talked with her and we learned a bit more and let her know that we would be staying here on this island and that we meant no harm. She allowed us to stay, but she was very confused as to why we would be here. Because she knew the king that gave the order for us to make this expedition. She didn't understand why he would allow us to go there. And so she allowed us to stay.
without asking her specifically.
Yes. Like he didn't ask her specifically or anything, so she allowed us to stay and gave us some advice to stay away from the east side of the island while she goes to figure out what the situation is. So we go back to camp, we figure stuff out, and then we head over to the west side of the island where we come up to some sandstone area, which was at
I
least
I don't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted to add, sorry. Um
one.
so a few days later, the group found out the king had no idea what expedition they were talking about. Um and when confronted by Estia, he was like, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about," basically. Um
Mhm.
and he also got a letter from his like second cousin, the group's cartographer, Dior Autumnheart, um asking about it, and he was equally just as confused. He goes to his advisor and asks about this, and she changes his memory and makes him think, yes, he did send them on this, when really it was her. She forged the letter. She, you know,
Bum, bum,
got
bum.
made sure to like get rid of some people. Like, she wasn't sure why she chose these people specifically, but she was like, as long as I can like keep some people distracted, I can do my own thing. What that thing is, well, that'll be revealed later on. Continue.
Oh, yes. Some very lovely things happen to our characters and the surrounding characters. um, so yes, all that had happened. Actually, they they went to camp first before they went to the sandstone area. I will say that when they were back at the camp, they decided to explore around the waterfall that was near there. And they found a cavern, which is very interesting because it was a big library under the waterfall, which was amazing. And it was only restored if you put books in there. Only the area that books were returned or put in was the place restored and clean, and it's a magical thing. So that's one of their goals, is to try to put as much books as they can into this library to see what happens. Um and before they decided to head off again in the van, they decided to stay behind in this library and try to add some personal touch, add some plants and decorations and stuff.
Yep.
It was lovely. So she was doing that, and then the rest of our group went over to the west side, and that's when we found the sandstone area, and it was very interesting because we came across a group of sandstone giants. It's safe to say that Darian was quite surprised by this encounter.
Yeah, I call them Poludiv in my world. I think it's like fucking Polish or something for giant. Um, I don't know. I just randomly translated a couple words to like give my own spin on the races, because I didn't want it to be so connected to like the D&D 5e lore and stuff like that, because I was hoping to make it into an actual book series, but um I figured that'd be pretty hard if I didn't have some sort of like archive of the gameplay and stuff like that. And I thank Jade for taking notes because I sure as hell didn't. Ironically, for me being the GM, but you know.
Yeah. Oh, shoot.
um. So yes, they met the sandstone half giants, the Poludive, on the west coast of the island. Um, and their home sort of looked like Petra in Jordan, if anyone has ever seen that or pictures of that. Um, the chief, his name was Joaquin. His wife was Aaliyah. Their eldest son was Jordan. Their middle son was Jax. And I did this totally on purpose because I thought it would be funny. Their youngest son is Jorge. Um, and their youngest child and only daughter is Olivia, spelled Alivia.
And what a lovely group they were. They took us in slightly confused, but they allowed
Yes.
it to happen. They were like, huh, who are these people? But they allowed us to be there. They were going to go hunting, so we helped hunt with them, and we helped collect a bunch of chicken lizards.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, wow, this is a great feast that we will have because of this. Why don't you, like, stay for the night with us, basically? And so
Yeah,
we
I
found
will
out more
say,
about
unlike.
their people. Hmm?
Oh, it's okay, I'll let you finish before I start saying this.
Okay, I was just gonna say, yeah. And then we found out more about their people, and it was very interesting before we decided to head off back towards our camp again.
Yeah, a lot of the, like, NPCs, including the gods, a lot of them are pretty chill and don't really care about what's happening. Uh, Unlike a lot of lore in other people's, uh, homebrew or even Dungeons and Dragons lore, like, um, a lot of there's always like some sort of conflict or like, um, in Critical Role, the Dawnfather is kind of this sort of imposing, menacing light god, and I wanted to distinguish myself by like most of the gods being chill except for one, but it's one the group hasn't met yet. Um, but the players know about them. The characters, debatable. Um, so a lot of my characters and PCs and stuff are pretty just kind of like blasé about everything, and I know I should probably fix that. It's hard when trying to build a world to like fully flesh out so many characters. Um
Yes,
but
yes.
it's something we'll work on. Maybe the personalities will change as we continue through the campaigns because I have some ideas, and um maybe because of those ideas, the gods start wanting to distance themselves, become a little more kind of like, you do this or I'll disown you as my champion type thing. I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah. So
Would be quite interesting.
after they met the sandstone half giants, um, they went back to their camp, and one day they got something a little weird. So at one point, I can't remember if it was before or after they went to the sandstone half giants. A group of their expedition team went to the eastern side, which the goddess Estia, the goddess of plants, told them not to go. But of course, being even if not everyone is human, being human nature they're gonna do it anyway. Humans do whatever the fuck they want all the time.
Oh,
And
yes.
so a group go over there, and a few days later, only a couple come back. But something was off about them, and the party didn't notice until they got a little closer. Um, they were sort of like zombie like creatures. Uh, so they fought
Mhm.
them, and then decided we need to see what's going on because not everyone came back, and that's suspicious. So then the group goes over to the eastern side of the island, only to find a necromancer by the name of the Soul Reaper, who not even the gods knew was there, which is definitely strange considering Alios, the god of death, sort of has his domain over there. Like, there is a portal to the underworld over there. Uh, and so the fact that even he, who literally lives over there, had no idea this person was there, kind of hints at
Yeah,
maybe this person is more powerful than they think. More powerful than a god, that's debatable, but it is strange that they didn't notice their invisible, like, tower or
very
mansion or
much
whatever
so.
there.
It's very interesting.
So the group goes over there, and they have to fight their former captain, Captain Daiba, who was like a spider type race. I think I called his race a Spinacop, which was spider in another language. So, once again, just me translating words and choosing what sounds interesting for a character race.
Yes,
Um,
lovely stuff.
and uh, Moon, Moon, do you have anything to add to this before we continue filling in? Like, I know you've not been feeling well lately, so hearing all this is probably nice to get context.
Yes. I don't really have anything else to add, but yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm adding is that
Well, like, what do you think of the recap so far? Like, what, like,
it's very easy to understand. So that's really good. Um I like it. I like it a lot.
okay. Yeah, unfortunately, Moonstar has not been feeling well lately, so we've kind of been like having her character kind of do things aside from everyone else. Last time she got taken to a prison.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yes,
of,
this last session. Lovely stuff.
speaking of, JD may continue the story.
Alrighty. So, yeah, after the situation with our people turning into zombie like creatures and having to deal with all that, and then finding out about this new person, we're like, what the heck is going on here, basically? And we spoke with the god of the underworld himself for a moment, and Darian especially
Mm-hmm.
had a private conversation and
Yes.
led to some stuff that you'll find out more later on. um they go back to camp and they figure out this stuff that's going on, and during this time that all this stuff is happening, Dan had got a letter that was telling him about, it was from his mother, his dear sweet mother
Mm-hmm.
sent him a warning message about the queen of the land, the wife of Darian's father.
Not queen,
Darian is a,
lady.
huh? Yes,
Not
the
queen,
lady.
lady.
Sorry, excuse me. the Lady of the Land, the wife of the Lord of the Land, who the Lord of the Land was Darian's father. Darian is a bastard son. And the Lady of the Land decided randomly, okay, let's get rid of all the bastards and their mothers.
Uh-oh, you got cut off.
And so then
Oh.
his mother had died from that, which was very sad. But
My
from
internet
this,
died, so you might have to repeat everything. Because I don't know if it actually recorded while I didn't have internet.
it looks like it was still recording.
Okay.
That's
I'll find
good,
out
but
when I go through and listen.
I'll repeat it though.
Okay.
But because of that situation, his mother warned him about that and said not to come back home because she didn't want him to get hurt, kill off, you know.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then
Um,
Navanthi, soon after getting
yes.
back to camp, also got a letter.
It wasn't
Um,
a letter, it was like a message in her head.
oh, okay. So she got a message as well, but it was from someone that she knew, she thought that she could trust, you know, but it ended up being somebody else. We all go to the Fae realm where she's from to go find out what the situation is. And Navanthe immediately gets kidnapped by the younger princess of the land.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, yeah, she gets kidnapped, taken to jail. We didn't know quite yet at the time, and so we decided to continue on, and we're like, okay, we know she
That
has
was weird.
family. Yeah, that was very weird. We know she has family nearby, so let's try to look around for her family. We come across her aunt, one of her aunts, which is the head of the guards, and we tell
Yes.
the
Lady
situation.
Lady Lyra Hold on. I gotta these last names are why did I do this? uh Lady Lyre Virlana of House Virlana and Pathana, second of her name, head guard of the Light Guard. That is one of Navanthi's aunts, as well as Lady Aerith Silberos of House Silberos and House Goldenfall, third of her name, advisor to the Queen. Aerith is her mother's sister, and Lyre is her father's sister.
Which is fantastic that they're both like such important people. um Her aunt basically brushed it off as child's play because she didn't see the youngest princess as a threat. So she found out that I don't know, was it her?
Um, so yesterday we found out, well, I say yesterday, it'll probably be a few days. Uh, but as we're recording this, yesterday on uh August 7th when we played, the group sort of, well, not the week before, but 2 weeks ago, you guys arrived in the Fey realm. Navanthi got kidnapped by her fiance's younger sister.
Mhm.
And so first Lady Lyre, one of those names, that name pronunciation is gonna change every single time, so I apologize in advance. Um, brushed it off as being like, oh, because in my world, elves live 1,000 years, satyrs live about 750, um, and half elves live about 500, because in my mind it makes sense. Like a full elf lives 1,000 years, so a half elf lives half as long, 500 years. Um, And based on their ages, Navanthi's age and Gianna's age, the younger princess, Gianna's probably about 150 years old, maybe a little younger. And how old did you say Navanthi was again, Moon?
That's a good question. Um, I know it's 100 and something. I think.
Let's just throw out 130.
Yeah, 130. Why not?
Um,
Wait, no, I remember. I think
wait, I have
100.
her character sheet. I can look.
Oh, okay, okay.
Duh. One moment, everyone. I wish I could like pause, but I can't. That's the one thing I'm like iffy about with this is I can't pause when I'm recording.
Mm-hmm.
Um do do do. 121 cuz she was originally 21 and then I was like, "Oh yeah, satyrs live a long time." And so we changed her age to 121 instead of just 21.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
I remember
So,
that.
yeah, the younger princess being about 150 and Navanthi being about 121, both are relatively young for their, races, ages. And so a lot of people were just like, Gianna couldn't possibly be a threat. And, when they were younger, Navanthi and Gianna were close. They could just be fucking around like they did when they were kids. Um, Turns out, no. Because as
Yeah.
the group found out last night, Gianna does in fact want to usurp the throne. And if she has to kill her mother and her sister and her sister's fiance to do so, she'll do it. Unfortunately, between kidnapping Navanthi and her co-conspirator not being the brightest bulb in the box, which is ironic because that character is a wizard. um,
Yeah.
Book smarts, not street smarts. uh, because there is a difference. A lot of people don't know that, but yes, there is a difference between book smarts and street smarts, and this character is not exactly street smart, but she's studied her entire life, which is why she knows so many spells and stuff because wizards. Anyway, um, so between the false message and not expecting everyone to show up, um, thinking only Navanthi would show up, Gianna was able to kidnap Navanthi, yes, but the rest of the group was able to figure out like where Navanthi was put, what the plan was, and
Mm-hmm.
Gianna the first time passed her charisma check for Zone of Truth. The second time she failed and then had to reveal everything. Um so oh, and she also like burned up a couple of guards that were outside of the prison
Oh
that
yeah.
she took Navanthi to.
The poor guards.
Yeah. Um but one of the things before Gianna was captured and questioned, um the two sisters were fighting and a couple of the players, their characters were like, no, no, like I am a knight, I this is my job, a little like a little underestimating the strength of the crown princess. Cuz like, okay, I get it, like you are a knight, it is your job to protect the royal family. However, when the royal family is all fighters,
Oh yeah.
maybe be like I'll stand by you, but if you want to fight, that's all you. I'm not blaming that player or that character or anything. It is what a knight does, but yeah. Uh
Yeah,
because the
Darian was
crown
like,
prince
yeah, gonna stay back while that's going on.
because I have character sheets for the crown princess and the younger princess, and the crown princess is level 16.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And our characters only just barely got level 6, so you can
Yeah.
see the difference.
And Gianna was level 9. So like
Lovely
I was
stuff.
hoping to make it a little challenging, but like if you got uh-oh. Oh,
I
there you are.
apologize for that.
Yeah, I figured I would make it a little challenging, but of course you guys didn't expect the crown princess to insist on going with you.
Yeah.
um cuz level 9 for like level 5, like a group of level 5 people including our new person. We added a new person yesterday. Um
Yes.
would have been a challenging fight, but I don't think it would have been a TPK.
Mhm.
It would have taken a lot of healing and a lot of like the fight probably would have lasted a lot longer, but I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
think it would have like been the end of the campaign.
No, definitely not. She went down far too easy.
Yeah, to be fair, her sister had 15 levels above her, so
Yes, and not just that, she had multiple attacks per turn, so she was really laying it on. She
well
wanted her dead.
so did Gianna. I think Gianna had 2 and I forgot about that. Just like I forgot about the crown princess having 3, so you know.
Yeah, fun stuff.
So that's where we are now. And they stayed at the castle. Everyone got a long rest, and not next week. Next week we're doing our Greek mythology campaign, which tempting to put on here too, but I feel like I don't know. We'll see. Um,
Mhm.
but definitely the Tana Room campaigns if we continue with our group. I hope this group stays together. I really enjoy running this game for you guys, and
Oh, yes, it's a very fun group to play with. I
Very.
think all of it works really well together.
it's all women. So if anyone was worried about like gross remarks from dudes or whatever, uh we don't have any dudes in our group, so
No dudes.
Yeah, and
You.
the
Oh,
the the guy that I play as, he's a sweet boy. He's not a gross man either.
no, no stinky men here. Ew,
uh
disgusting.
I mean,
Anyway,
Mr. Darien is innocent now, but like between the death of his mom and whatever else comes this group's way, he's not going to be a disgusting, gross,
No,
perverted dude, but he's going to
he'll
probably
become
become a
a bit
little more
more hearted.
ruthless.
Yes, he will become more hardened as the story goes by. We already saw, like, with the situation that was going on with the princess Diana, that he was getting slightly fidgety as well, like with
Mhm.
his
Fidgeting with
new
his sword.
weapon. Uh-huh.
Um in fact, well, I don't know if I would be able to edit this. Like, I had to delete so much crap off of my computer just so I could install Sims on my actual computer's hard drive because it was on my external hard drive and it kept crashing. So I was like, let's try it just on my computer's hard drive. And it so far it has not crashed And I'm just
Oh,
like,
thank
great.
goodness.
So I can't have anything else on this computer except Sims, I guess.
That
Oh
sucks.
my goodness.
But I'll figure something out. Maybe I can, well, maybe I can re-download my editing software and put a picture up of the sword, but I don't know. I might just upload this whole thing. Like, we're already at 40 minutes. I might just say
Yeah.
fuck it and upload this entire audio.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not? Why not? Yeah.
So, yeah, Darian was getting a little fidgety. He wanted to fight, I'm guessing, but also he saw that the crown princess had it handled.
He saw that they had it handled, but he was not liking exactly how the situation was because he doesn't want anyone he cares for getting hurt. And he's grown to care for the people in this group. Especially now that he's lost his mother, this has kind of become his new family, and
Mm-hmm.
the other character, Bronwyn, had gotten hit first off when they went into the prison, and
No, it
so
was Elon that got hit.
it was Elon? Okay.
Yeah.
Elon got hit first when they went to the prison, and so he didn't quite like that she was, a threat to his group, and so that's why he was keeping a close eye on her.
I will say Bronwyn has definitely become like an older sister to Darian. I think
Oh,
there's about a
oh
10-year difference
yes.
between them.
Yes, definitely has kind of become like a sibling bond, and during like domestic calm times, Darian has also been teaching her to read as well because he's a very well-read boy.
Yes. So the group's classes are Moon's character, Navanthi, is a wizard druid.
Teehee. Yes.
Interesting combination, I must say. Uh, and
Yep.
Darian is an artificer and just multi-classed into paladin.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Um, Elon is an echo knight, a fighter. Bronwyn, I think she's a sorcerer, a shadow sorcerer. And our new person, Rain, is a cleric.
Which is definitely gonna be helpful because we didn't really have, like, a main, like, healer magic person
Yeah.
helping out,
um,
so that could be useful. We kind of basically brought her along, like, into our stuff.
yeah.
She just
Oh, that's
randomly
another
got
thing.
brought here.
That's another thing. So, she just kind of showed up in the Fey realm, um,
Mhm.
like as the group was heading toward the prison, and um, she's from a sort of like like a lot of polytheistic religions, the uh, worshiping of gods is a little more cult like rather than like go to church and you know read this book.
Mhm.
um I mean, yes, there are still churches and temples to each god and things like that, but it's mostly like there are the only god that is sort of illegal in both dynasties, or at least is frowned upon in both dynasties, is the fire god because he's kind of an asshole. Um,
Yeah.
And that's another thing.
Speaking of that, yes, he had burnt he the plant goddess's home when we had went back to tell her we were leaving the
Yes.
island. So that was really messed up.
Yeah, I don't know quite what to do with him yet because you guys already have a couple of sort of big enemies. I don't want to bring, apocalyptic bullshit into it quite yet. Um, but uh the fire god Infernus is one of the actual born children of Cuisis and Yana, the god of shadow and the goddess of light. Estia is sort of like an adoptive sister. She wasn't born from Cuisis and Yana. She just kind of showed up as more gods started like taking notice of this new world being created. And Cuisis and Yana were like, okay, you're our kids now. And they were like, all right. um, but Infernus was actually born of Cuisisinyana, and he is also the creator of the Seven Hells, as well as the kings and queens of the Seven Hells. So,
Yeah, very
that's
interesting stuff.
yes. Um, so the only one who's sort of like questionable when it comes to worship is Infernus. Does that stop people from worshiping him? No, absolutely not. But
There's always
like
going to
they
be some people.
yeah, and they usually keep it quiet so they don't get caught by either the Feothia dynasty or the Pagala Empire for worshiping him. That being said, we're getting a little off track here. Our new cleric, she's a cleric of Cuisis and Alios, the gods of death and shadow. Um, and she's kind of like her sort of group that she's part of, that she's an acolyte of, are sort of like traveling people who like want to help others and just kind of spread the word of like, hey, this is the god I follow. He's great, you know? Um, but as Darian sort of caught on looking at her like amulet and stuff, uh, her cult is not in the Feothia dynasty where he is from. It
Mm-hmm.
is in the Pagala Empire. Or what did I call it?
I forget exactly.
Pagala Empire, yes.
Mm.
Um, but this cult she's part of is part of the Pagala Empire, which is kind of a rival to the Feothia dynasty. So far there hasn't really been any conflict or anything between the two. Uh,
Just
but
Darian's a little wary
yeah,
about the situation. He's like, I don't know.
because here's the thing, like our first campaign is like towards the like beginning, middle, that sort of range of the first age. So the gods live among the races and like they know they're there, like very similar to Norse mythology, like they believe the gods live among them, and the Greek mythology for that matter. And yes, they do. They just kind of try and make sure they're not somewhere super noticeable because they don't want to get flooded with people like, can you do this for me, can you do that for me, blah blah blah. Leave that to the royalty, we'll just watch from a distance, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so, but our second campaign is going to be towards the end of the first age and is going to be very much inspired by feudal Japan, in that there are going to be a ton of different like families and clans and stuff that are fighting for power. I might do a full rundown of that in a separate sort of audio, uh, but right now we're already almost at an hour, so I'm gonna say thank you all for listening. Thank you,
Yes.
Moon and Jade, for coming here and testing this out with me.
Of
Yeah, of course.
course.
This is very interesting. I love the way this
Mm-hmm.
is.
I do too.
Same.
Um, so, those who are listening, thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear the rest of the tales from Tanarim, ooh, that's a good title actually.
Yes.
Gonna
Yes.
change the podcast title after I'm done here. Uh, um, if you'd like to hear more tales from Tanarim, um, follow me on Spotify. I'll figure out how to upload all of this on there too. I know you can like automatically do it with this, but I don't know if you need to make a specific Spotify account for that or what. I'll figure it out. But if I can't figure it out, subscribe to me on YouTube, and everyone who has joined, subscribe to them on YouTube as well.
I don't have YouTube, but I do have
Oh,
Twitch,
Yes.
Crafting Joy with a K.
go
Yeah.
follow Jade on Twitch then.
Um, Moonstar1911 on Twitch.
Okay. I know you have a
Yeah.
YouTube too, so that's why I said that.
Oh, okay.
But
Good.
But yes, thank you so much. I
Thank
of
can't
you.
wait
course.
for y'all to have fun with this as much as we have. So, yay.
And
Yay.
disclaimer, we are not professional actors, so do not expect the same quality as like Critical Role in
Yes.
Dimension 20. Please.
Yes,
Please, for the
exactly.
love of God.
Yes.
Very
Um,
much.
yeah. I could do some voices,
Anyway,
but
maybe
not
someday,
many.
but not right now.
Yeah.
Not many. I bet I could do Irish or Scottish accents. So what are you
Anyway.
asking me? I don't know. Not much. It's so hard.
Anyway, thank you all again for listening, and we'll see you all maybe in our next session of Tonrim if everyone is down for doing this. So, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.